15 Black celebrities who underwent gender transition. While these 15 icons have shattered glass ceilings and rewritten the global narrative of identity, their journey reveals a stark paradox in our modern era. We celebrate their faces on magazine covers and award stages, yet the systemic violence and legislative erasure facing the broader Black trans community remain at an all-time high. Is our society truly progressing toward equity, or are we simply settling for glamorized visibility as a substitute for real justice? At Black Excellence Legends, we believe representation is only the first step. Does Hollywood's spotlight offer genuine liberation, or is it merely a distraction from the unfinished revolution? Gia Banks. In the intricate landscape of contemporary entertainment and high-fashion advocacy, Gia Banks stands as a testament to the power of understated resilience. Often described as a model's model, her journey is not merely a chronicle of aesthetic transformation, but a masterclass in navigating the intersectional complexities of being a Black transgender woman in spaces that historically prioritize exclusion. Unlike many of her contemporaries who found fame through the explosive medium of reality television, Banks cultivated her influence through the meticulous world of editorial modeling and grassroots visibility, ensuring that her presence carried a weight of authenticity that transcends mere spectacle. Gia's narrative began far from the shimmering flashbulbs of New York or Paris. Her early transition was a private reclamation of self, a deliberate choice to align her physical reality with her internal truth long before the transgender tipping point became a media buzzword. This early autonomy allowed her to enter the industry not as a novelty, but as a seasoned professional with a profound understanding of her own silhouette and agency. Her work often highlights the fluidity of gender through a lens of high art, utilizing her platform to mentor younger generations of Black trans girls who rarely see themselves reflected in the glossy pages of prestige magazines. Beyond the runway, Banks has pivoted into the realm of social architecture. She recognizes that visibility without viability is a hollow victory. Consequently, she has focused her advocacy on economic empowerment and healthcare equity. By collaborating with the organizations that provide resources for trans youth of color, she addresses the systemic barriers that lead to homelessness and unemployment within the community. Her activism is characterized by a quiet fire, a persistent, unwavering commitment to structural change rather than performative gestures. Gia Banks reminds the world that while a transition is a personal milestone, the ultimate goal is the creation of a society where Black trans bodies are celebrated, protected, and given the space to flourish without apology. She remains a vital bridge between the ballroom heritage of the past and the inclusive corporate boardrooms of the future. Brian Michael Smith. Brian Michael Smith stands as a monumental figure in the landscape of modern television, fundamentally altering how the world perceives the intersection of Blackness and transgender manhood. His ascent in Hollywood is not merely a collection of acting credits, but a strategic dismantling of long-standing cinematic tropes. While the industry historically overlooked trans-masculine narratives, Smith leveraged his commanding screen presence and classical training to demand a seat at the table. His breakout moment arrived with a nuanced performance in Queen Sugar, but it was his historic casting in 911 Lone Star that solidified his status as a pioneer. By portraying Paul Strickland, a heroic firefighter, Smith became the first Black transgender man cast as a series regular on a major broadcast network, providing a vital mirror for a community that had remained largely invisible in mainstream media. His journey is characterized by an unwavering commitment to authentic excellence. Born in Ann Arbor, Michigan, Smith navigated the complexities of his identity while excelling in athletics and the arts, a dual background that lends a unique physicality and groundedness to his roles. Unlike the sensationalized or tragic depictions of trans lives often favored by scripts, Brian's portrayals emphasize competence, brotherhood, and professional integrity. He doesn't just play a trans character, he portrays complex men who happen to be transgender, shifting the focus from the mechanics of transition to the depth of human experience. This distinction is crucial in the fight for narrative equity, as it allows audiences to connect with his characters through shared values of courage and service. Off-screen, Smith is a vocal architect for systemic change within the Screen Actors Guild and the broader entertainment ecosystem. He utilizes his platform to advocate for inclusive casting rooms and the protection of trans youth in sports, drawing from his personal history as a high school athlete. His advocacy is rooted in the belief that representation is a life-saving tool. By appearing in People magazine's Sexiest Man Alive issue, he shattered aesthetic barriers, proving that trans masculinity is synonymous with strength, charisma, and desirability. Brian Michael Smith continues to lead with a quiet authority, ensuring that the path he paved remains open and expanded for the next generation of Black trans men seeking their own spotlight. Angelica Ross. Angelica Ross embodies a rare synthesis of artistic brilliance and entrepreneurial visionary, positioning herself as a formidable force in the modern crusade for equity. Her trajectory is a masterclass in self-determination, evolving from a youth marked by the harsh realities of homelessness and discrimination into a global icon of Black transgender success. Ross did not merely wait for Hollywood to open its doors, she built her own corridors of power. While her riveting performances in Pose and American Horror Story 1984 earned her critical acclaim and solidified her status as a premier dramatic actress, her most radical work occurs at the intersection of bits, bytes, and social justice. As the first transgender woman to secure 2 series regular roles back-to-back, she utilized her visibility to illuminate the specific struggles of Black trans women, ensuring their narratives were centered rather than sidelined. The essence of Angelica's impact lies in her role as the founder of trans tech social enterprises. Recognizing that economic autonomy is the ultimate shield against systemic violence, she created an incubator focused on providing vocational training and job placement in the technology sector for marginalized individuals. This initiative stems from her belief that visibility without viability is insufficient. She advocates for a world where trans people of color possess the technical skills to dominate corporate landscapes. Her leadership in tech serves as a direct rebuttal to the myth that transgender talent is limited to the performing arts. By fostering a community of trans coders, designers, and entrepreneurs, Ross is effectively architecting a future where financial independence serves as a bedrock for liberation. Beyond her professional achievements, Angelica Ross operates with a spiritual and political clarity that challenges the status quo. Whether she is hosting the 2020 Presidential Candidate Forum on LGBTQ issues or advocating for holistic healthcare access, she speaks with a warrior's grace, a combination of fierce advocacy and profound empathy. She has navigated the entertainment industry's gatekeeping with a resilience that inspires millions, proving that one can be both a muse for high fashion and a pioneer of social engineering. Her journey is a testament to the fact that when Black trans women are given the resources to thrive, they don't just succeed, they revolutionize every industry they touch. Angelica Ross remains a beacon of what is possible when brilliance meets an unyielding purpose. Miss Peppermint. Miss Peppermint, born Agnes Moore, is a cultural phenomenon who has redefined the boundaries of drag musical theater and mainstream entertainment. A fixture of the New York City nightlife long before the global explosion of drag culture, she represents a pivotal bridge between underground ballroom heritage and commercial superstardom. While her vivacious personality and powerhouse vocals made her a legend in Manhattan, it was her historic appearance on the 9th season of RuPaul's Drag Race that altered the trajectory of LGBTQ+ representation forever. As the first contestant to enter the competition as an openly out transgender woman, she dismantled the exclusionary barriers that had long persisted within the drag community, proving that trans identity and drag excellence are not only compatible but deeply interconnected. Peppermint's artistry is characterized by a sugar and spice duality, a blend of infectious warmth and a razor-sharp command of the stage. Her transition from a nightlife icon to a Broadway trailblazer was solidified when she originated the role of Pythio in the musical Head Over Heels. This feat made her the first trans woman to originate a principal role on Broadway, a milestone that signaled a sea change in theatrical casting. Unlike many who are forced to compartmentalize their identities to fit industry molds, Peppermint has consistently integrated her activism into her art. Her music, spanning from pop anthems to soul-stirring ballads, serves as a narrative vehicle for the Black trans experience, emphasizing joy, resilience, and the necessity of self-celebration in a world that often demands silence. Beyond the footlights, Peppermint operates as a formidable advocate for social equity and healthcare access. She utilizes her global platform to address the systemic vulnerabilities faced by Black transgender women, particularly regarding safety and economic stability. As an ACLU ambassador for trans justice, she has navigated the political landscape with the same poise she displays on stage, translating complex legislative issues into accessible calls to action for her fans. Her advocacy is rooted in the mothering tradition of the ballroom scene, mentoring younger performers and ensuring that the doors she kicked open remain accessible to those following in her footsteps. Miss Peppermint remains a beacon of authenticity, reminding us that the most radical act one can perform is to live truthfully, loudly, and with an unwavering sense of humor. Janet Mock. Janet Mock is a visionary force who fundamentally shifted the global discourse on transgender identity from a position of clinical curiosity to one of profound human agency. A native of Honolulu, Hawaii, Mock's trajectory began in the rigorous world of journalism, where she honed her ability to craft compelling, truth-driven narratives at publications like People and Marie Claire. However, her most transformative contribution arrived in 2014 with the publication of her memoir, Redefining Realness. This seminal work did not merely chronicle her transition, it offered a complex analysis of how race, class, and gender intersect, providing a roadmap for Black trans women to claim their space in a society that often seeks to erase them. By choosing to tell her story on her own terms, Mock dismantled the tragic victim trope and replaced it with a narrative of self-determined brilliance and intellectual rigor. Her impact extends far beyond the printed page and into the structural fabric of Hollywood. As a writer, director, and producer for the groundbreaking FX series Pose, Mock made history by becoming the first transgender woman of color to sign a multi-year overall deal with a major studio, Netflix. This milestone was not just a personal victory, but a systemic breakthrough, ensuring that trans storytellers are the ones holding the pen and the camera. Her directorial style is characterized by an empathetic lens that prioritizes the dignity and internal lives of her characters, moving beyond the superficiality of representation to achieve true cultural resonance. Through her work, she has mentored a new generation of creators, fostering an ecosystem where authenticity is the highest currency. In the arena of advocacy, Janet Mock operates with a surgical precision that challenges institutional transphobia and systemic inequality. She has utilized her platform to amplify the voices of the most marginalized, consistently highlighting that the fight for trans rights is inseparable from the struggle for racial justice. Her public speaking and activism are rooted in the concept of possibility models, the idea that by being visible and successful, she provides a blueprint for what is achievable. Whether she is addressing the United Nations or leading a grassroots march, Mock speaks with a moral clarity that demands more than just tolerance. She demands equity, respect, and the right for all individuals to live their realness without fear. Janet Mock remains the preeminent voice of her generation, a philosopher-artist who has rewritten the script for what it means to be Black, trans, and powerful. Maya Taylor. Maya Taylor is a transformative presence in the cinematic landscape, a performer whose raw talent and unyielding commitment to truth altered the trajectory of transgender representation in film. Her ascent began with the 2015 independent masterpiece Tangerine, a film that shattered industry norms by being shot entirely on mobile devices and, more importantly, by casting transgender women to tell their own stories. Portraying Alexandra, a singer navigating the gritty streets of Hollywood, Taylor delivered a performance characterized by its vulnerability, humor, and profound dignity. This role did not merely launch her career. It forced the Academy and major critics to acknowledge that Black trans women possess a depth of talent that had been systematically excluded from the silver screen for decades. The historical significance of Taylor's contribution was solidified when she won the Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Female, making her the first openly transgender actress to win a major film award. This milestone served as a formal rebuke to the Oscar bait tradition of casting cisgender actors in trans roles. For Taylor, acting is an extension of her lived reality, and she approached her craft with a refusal to sanitize the experiences of marginalized women. Born in Houston, Texas, her journey to the screen was marked by the very systemic barriers she now works to dismantle: homelessness, unemployment, and the lack of professional opportunities. By thriving in spite of these obstacles, she has become a symbol of artistic sovereignty, proving that the most compelling narratives are those rooted in authentic survival. Beyond the accolades, Maya Taylor operates as a quiet yet powerful advocate for economic equity within the arts. She recognizes that a single award does not fix a broken system. Instead, she uses her visibility to demand sustainable career paths for Black trans performers. Her presence in the industry is a constant reminder that representation is hollow without institutional support and fair compensation. Whether she is appearing in high-profile television series or independent shorts, she brings a magnetic intensity that demands the viewer's full attention. Taylor is not interested in being a token. She is a trailblazer who has cleared a path for future creators to be judged by their artistry rather than their identity. Maya Taylor remains a vital architect of the new Hollywood, where the stories of the marginalized are finally being told with the brilliance they deserve. CeCe McDonald. CeCe McDonald is a titan of social justice, whose life story serves as a visceral indictment of the systemic violence and institutional transphobia embedded within the American legal system. Her journey into the national spotlight was not through the glitz of Hollywood, but through a harrowing 2011 incident in Minneapolis, where she was forced to defend her life against a violent racist and transphobic attack. The subsequent legal battle, which saw a victim of hate-motivated violence prosecuted and incarcerated, sparked an international Free CeCe movement. This groundswell of support transcended borders, uniting activists, celebrities, and grassroots organizations to highlight the precariousness of Black trans lives. McDonald's survival became a rallying cry for a generation, exposing the grim reality that for Black transgender women, self-defense is often treated as a criminal act rather than a human right. During her 19 months in a men's prison, McDonald transformed her isolation into a classroom of resistance. She refused to be silenced by a carceral system designed to break her spirit, instead becoming a vocal critic of the prison industrial complex from behind bars. Her release in 2014 marked the beginning of a new chapter as a global advocate for prison abolition and intersectional liberation. Unlike the polished narratives of celebrity activism, CeCe's voice is rooted in the raw, unfiltered truth of the streets and the cell block. She challenges the mainstream LGBTQ+ movement to move beyond marriage equality and focus on the survival of those at the intersections of poverty, Blackness, and transness. Her resilience is not just personal. It is a political force that demands a complete restructuring of how society defines safety and justice. Today, CeCe McDonald remains a formidable presence in the fight for human rights, utilizing her platform to mentor youth and influence policy. She has been the subject of the powerful documentary Free CeCe, produced by Laverne Cox, which meticulously chronicles her case and its implications for the broader movement. Her advocacy is characterized by a refusal to compromise on the dignity of her community. She speaks with a fiery clarity that strips away the veneer of progress, reminding the world that as long as Black trans women remain targets of state and vigilante violence, the work is far from over. CeCe McDonald is more than an activist. She is a living testament to the fact that power is not granted by systems. It is claimed through the unwavering courage to exist, resist, and thrive against all odds. MJ Rodriguez. Michaela J.A. Rodriguez, widely celebrated as MJ Rodriguez, is a transformative force in the global cultural landscape, a performer who has effectively dismantled the ceiling of what is possible for transgender artists in Hollywood. Her journey from the competitive ballroom scenes of Newark, New Jersey, to the world's most prestigious award stages is a saga of pure, unadulterated talent, meeting an ironclad resolve. While many actors are shaped by the industry, Rodriguez spent years honing her craft in the crucible of musical theater, originating roles and commanding stages with a vocal range that defies conventional limits. However, it was her portrayal of Blanca Evangelista in the FX masterpiece Poe that shifted the tectonic plates of television history. As the soulful matriarch of the House of Evangelista, she didn't just play a role, she gave a heartbeat to the lived experiences of Black and Afro-Latina trans women, grounding the flamboyant world of ballroom in a profound universal humanity. The year 2022 marked a definitive before and after moment in entertainment history when Rodriguez became the first transgender actress to win Madison a Golden Globe for Best Actress in a television series drama. This accolade was not merely a trophy, it was a formal recognition that trans talent is capable of leading a global narrative with peak dramatic intensity. Her win shattered the industry's glass walls, proving that the authenticity of a trans performer adds a layer of depth that cannot be replicated. Rodriguez's artistry is characterized by a velvet power, a combination of immense vulnerability and a fierce, undeniable presence. She has transitioned seamlessly from the grit of Pose to the sophisticated comedy of Loot, showcasing a versatility that ensures her longevity in an industry that once viewed trans actors as a monolith. Beyond the flashbulbs, Michaela J. operates as a possibility model for millions. She consciously uses her platform to advocate for LGBTQ+ youth, emphasizing that their identities are not obstacles to their dreams, but the very engines of their creativity. Her advocacy is rooted in a philosophy of radical joy, a refusal to let the narrative of Black trans lives be defined solely by trauma or struggle. By appearing as the face of major beauty campaigns and gracing the covers of fashion Bibles, she is architecting a new standard of glamour that is inclusive of all gender expressions. Michaela J. Rodriguez is more than an actress. She is a cultural diplomat who has successfully negotiated a future where Black trans excellence is not an exception but an expectation. T.S. Madison. T.S. Madison is a revolutionary force in the media landscape, a visionary who bypassed traditional industry gatekeepers by leveraging the raw, unfiltered power of the internet to build a global empire. Long before influencer marketing was a corporate buzzword, Madison was architecting a blueprint for digital sovereignty. Her journey is a masterclass in radical self-ownership, transitioning from the adult film industry, a space where she successfully reclaimed her narrative from exploitation. She pivoted into mainstream stardom through sheer charisma and business acumen. With her signature catchphrases and a no-holds-barred approach to storytelling, she transformed a social media presence into a multi-platform career that spans reality television, film, and music. Her 2021 series, The T.S. Madison Experience, made her the first Black transgender woman to star in and executive produce her own reality show on a major network, shattering the glass ceiling of unscripted entertainment. The essence of Madison's power lies in her loud and proud philosophy. She refuses to conform to the respectability politics that often silence Black trans women, choosing instead to celebrate her body, her voice, and her history with infectious confidence. This unapologetic visibility serves as a vital form of activism. By existing loudly in public spaces, she challenges the world to look past stereotypes and recognize the humanity of trans women of color. Her inclusion in Beyoncé's Renaissance album, sampling her voice on the track Cozy, solidified her status as a cultural icon, bridging the gap between underground ball culture and the pinnacle of global pop artistry. Madison's artistry is a celebration of the big, bold, and Black experience, proving that one does not need to shrink themselves to be embraced by the masses. Beyond the laughter and the glamour, T.S. Madison is a fierce advocate for economic empowerment and legislative protection for the transgender community. She utilizes her massive digital footprint to mobilize her Maddie mob for social justice, focusing on issues like healthcare equity and the decriminalization of sex work. Her advocacy is rooted in the belief that financial independence is the ultimate form of liberation for marginalized people. She mentors emerging creators, teaching them how to monetize their talents and own their intellectual property, ensuring that the next generation of trans talent is not just seen but paid. T.S. Madison remains a titan of the digital age, a self-made mogul who proved that when the world refuses to give you a seat at the table, you simply build your own table and invite everyone to feast. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox is a cultural phenomenon whose entry into the mainstream zeitgeist marked a definitive before and after for transgender history. Born in Mobile, Alabama, Cox navigated a childhood defined by both the creative spark of dance and the harsh friction of systemic bullying. This duality forged a resilience that would eventually propel her to the Marymount Manhattan College stage and ultimately to the set of the Netflix original Orange is the New Black. Her portrayal of Sophia Bursay, a character defined by her humanity, maternal instinct, and professional skill as a stylist, rather than just her transition shattered the glass ceiling of Hollywood. In 2014, she became the first openly transgender person to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy in an acting category, an accolade that signaled to the industry that trans talent was not only viable, but essential for high-caliber storytelling. The Laverne Cox effect extends far beyond the screen. In June 2014, she became the first transgender person to grace the cover of Time magazine, accompanied by the headline, "The Transgender Tipping Point." This moment wasn't just a media milestone, it was a diplomatic victory. Cox utilized this sudden, massive platform to shift the conversation away from surgical curiosity and toward human rights. She introduced the concept of possibility models, arguing that her success was proof of what could happen when trans people are given access to resources rather than being relegated to the shadows. Her Emmy-winning documentary, The T-Word, and her executive production of Disclosure, a critical look at trans representation in film, further cemented her role as an intellectual architect of the movement, analyzing the power of the gaze and the politics of visibility with surgical precision. Off-screen, Cox operates with a warrior's grace, navigating high-fashion runways and political corridors with equal authority. She has consistently centered Black transgender women in her advocacy, refusing to let the movement be whitewashed or sanitized. Whether she is advocating for the decriminalization of sex work or protesting the trans panic defense in legal systems, her voice is a blend of academic rigor and deep-lived empathy. She has received honorary doctorates and numerous humanitarian awards, yet she remains grounded in the belief that true liberation requires more than just celebrity. It requires systemic policy change. Laverne Cox remains the North Star of the movement, a trailblazer who didn't just walk through the door, but left it wide open, ensuring that the light of truth and authenticity would never be dimmed again. Dominique Jackson. Dominique Jackson is a towering figure of elegance and authority, a woman whose life journey reads like a modern epic of survival, reclamation, and eventual coronation. Born in Trinidad and Tobago, Jackson's early years were marked by the profound trauma of sexual abuse and a fundamental rejection of her identity by her family and church. This initial displacement led her to flee to the United States, where she navigated the brutal realities of homelessness and undocumented status on the streets of Baltimore and New York City. However, it was within the subterranean sanctuary of the ballroom scene that Jackson found her true kingdom. Long before she was a household name, she was a legendary mother in the ballroom circuit, earning the respect of her peers through a commanding presence and an unwavering commitment to the protection of her chosen family. Her ascent to global stardom arrived with the role of Electra Abundance in the FX series Pose. Jackson did not merely perform the character. She inhabited Electra with a tectonic intensity that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. Her portrayal of the fierce, sharp-tongued matriarch provided a masterclass in the art of the read, but more importantly, it humanized the desperate lengths to which Black trans women must go to secure their own autonomy. Through Electra, Jackson showcased the armor of glamour, how high fashion and a regal bearing can serve as both a weapon and a shield against a world that seeks to diminish trans bodies. Her performance earned her a place among the elite of television drama, proving that the rawest truths often come from those who have survived the deepest shadows. Beyond the screen, Dominique Jackson operates as a formidable advocate for human rights and the dignity of the marginalized. She utilizes her platform to speak candidly about the intersectional struggles of being an immigrant, a survivor of trauma, and a transgender woman of color. Her advocacy is characterized by a royal demand. She does not ask for tolerance. She demands the inherent respect and space that all human beings deserve. As an author and a motivational speaker, she has mentored thousands of LGBTQ+ youth, teaching them that their otherness is actually their greatest power. Jackson remains a living monument to the spirit of the ballroom, a queen who turned her scars into a crown and her survival into a revolution. She is a reminder that royalty is not inherited by blood, but earned through the courage to stand tall when the world tries to make you small. Munroe Bergdorf. Munroe Bergdorf is a formidable force in the British and global fashion landscapes, a woman whose career is defined by the courageous refusal to separate her aesthetic beauty from her political convictions. Her ascent was marked by a historic breakthrough in 2017 when she was appointed as the first openly transgender model for a L'Oreal UK campaign. However, when she utilized her platform to speak candidly about the systemic nature of white supremacy and institutional racism following the events in Charlottesville, the corporation chose to sever ties with her. Rather than retreating into silence, Bergdorf transformed this professional setback into a cultural reckoning. Her steadfastness forced a global dialogue on the performative nature of corporate diversity, ultimately leading to an unprecedented public apology from the brand years later, and her appointment to their UK Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Board. This victory solidified her status not just as a model, but as a disruptor of the status quo. Bergdorf's artistry is inextricably linked to her identity as a Black trans woman navigating the rigid structures of the United Kingdom's media. Her work transcends the runway, manifesting in her role as a contributing editor for British Vogue and a constant presence on the covers of prestige publications like Time and Grazia. Her activism is characterized by a surgical honesty, a willingness to dissect uncomfortable truths about transphobia and misogynoir in a way that demands systemic change. By being the first trans woman to be awarded an honorary doctorate from the University of Brighton for her contribution to campaigning for transgender rights, she bridged the gap between the glamour of the fashion world and the intellectual rigor of academic advocacy. Beyond the cameras, Munroe operates as a vital advocate for the mental health and safety of LGBTQ+ youth. She recognizes that for trans people of color, visibility is a double-edged sword that can lead to increased vulnerability. Consequently, she focuses her efforts on community building and legislative reform, serving as a patron for the charity Mermaids and working with UN Women UK to end violence against women and girls. Her 2023 book, Transitional, serves as a philosophical manifesto, arguing that transitioning is a universal human experience of growth rather than a niche medical event. Munroe Bergdorf remains a vanguard of the Nuru era, proving that a model's greatest asset is not her silhouette, but her voice. She has successfully redefined the industry to ensure that the next generation of Black trans talent can bring their whole authentic selves to the spotlight. Alexandra Gray. Alexandra Gray is a multifaceted artist whose ascent in the entertainment industry serves as a masterclass in versatility and intellectual depth. A native of Chicago, Gray's journey to the spotlight was forged in the fire of resilience. After aging out of the foster care system and facing a period of homelessness in Los Angeles, she refused to let her circumstances dictate her destiny. Instead, she utilized her classical training and innate musicality to carve out a space in an industry that was just beginning to grasp the complexity of transgender lives. Gray's breakthrough was not defined by a single role, but by a consistent body of work that spans high-stakes drama and musical performance. Her presence on shows like Empire Chicago Med and The Alienist demonstrated a chameleonic ability to inhabit diverse characters, proving that her talent transcends the limited, trans-specific tropes that Hollywood often favors. The definitive moment of Gray's career arrived with her starring role in the critically acclaimed series A House Divided. By portraying a character whose narrative arc was defined by familial loyalty, ambition, and power, rather than the mechanics of her transition, Gray effectively shifted the needle for trans representation. Her performance underscored a vital truth that transgender actors are capable of carrying complex, multi-seasonal storylines with the same dramatic weight as their cisgender peers. Her artistry is characterized by a quiet intensity, a profound emotional intelligence that allows her to convey volumes through a single expression. This nuance has made her a favorite among directors who seek to bring authentic human depth to the screen, ensuring that the characters she plays are seen as whole individuals first. Beyond the soundstage, Alexandra Gray is a fierce advocate for systemic equity within the Screen Actors Guild and the broader creative arts. She recognizes that for Black trans performers, the struggle for visibility is inextricably linked to economic stability and fair casting practices. Consequently, she utilizes her platform to demand that trans voices be included in every stage of production, from the writer's room to the director's chair. Her advocacy is rooted in her own history as a survivor, driving her to mentor LGBTQ+ youth who are currently navigating the foster care system or homelessness. By sharing her story of triumph over structural adversity, she provides a blueprint of hope for those who feel invisible. Alexandra Gray remains a vital architect of the new Hollywood, a performer activist who has proven that through unwavering talent and a refusal to be categorized, one can rewrite the stars. Miss Major Griffin-Gracy. Miss Major Griffin-Gracy is a living monument to the resilience of the Black transgender spirit, a veteran of the front lines whose activism predates the modern terminology of the LGBTQ+ movement. Born in 1940, her journey is a visceral map of 20th century social upheaval. As a survivor of the 1969 Stonewall riots, she does not view history from a distance. She was an architect of the very rebellion that birthed the contemporary fight for liberation. For over half a century, Miss Major has operated as a community mother, a title earned through the radical act of providing sanctuary to those discarded by society. Her life has been defined by a fierce opposition to the prison industrial complex, a system she witnessed firsthand as a formerly incarcerated woman. Rather than allowing the state to break her, she utilized her experiences to build a global movement focused on the survival and dignity of transgender women of color. The essence of Miss Major's impact lies in her leadership of the Transgender Gender Variant and Intersex Justice Project, TGIJP, recognizing that Black trans bodies are disproportionately targeted by state violence. She pioneered a framework of re-entry and support that prioritizes economic self-sufficiency and legal defense. Her activism is characterized by an unfiltered fire, a refusal to sanitize her language or her demands for the sake of mainstream palatability. She has consistently challenged the broader LGBTQ+ movement for its historical tendency to center affluent white cisgender narratives, insisting that there is no pride without the liberation of the most marginalized. Her philosophy is rooted in the belief that solidarity is a verb manifesting in decades of direct action, from visiting incarcerated girls to demanding healthcare equity in the face of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. At 85 years old, Miss Major remains an active and formidable presence, a general in the war against transphobia. Her story was meticulously documented in the 2015 film Major, which introduced her legacy to a new generation of activists. She does not seek the spotlight for personal gain. She uses it to illuminate the names of those lost to violence and the systemic neglect of the state. Her advocacy serves as a bridge between the radical street activism of the 1960s and the digital movements of today. Miss Major Griffin-Gracy is more than a leader. She is the heartbeat of a revolution, a woman who taught the world that Black trans lives are precious, powerful, and permanent. She remains a reminder that our elders are our greatest library, and our survival is our most radical act of resistance. Amiyah Scott. Amiyah Scott is a trailblazing force whose career trajectory fundamentally altered the pipeline from digital influence to mainstream television dominance. Long before the industry grasped the commercial power of social media, Scott had already cultivated a massive loyal following by sharing her journey with an unapologetic elegance that blended high-fashion aesthetics with raw, relatable truth. Often cited as the first transgender woman to transition from a viral sensation to a legitimate, scripted television lead, she dismantled the elitist gatekeeping of Hollywood. Her casting in Lee Daniels' musical drama Star was a seismic event. By portraying Cotton Brown, she became one of the first Black transgender women to hold a series regular role on a major broadcast network, Fox. Through Cotton, Scott delivered a nuanced performance that navigated the complex intersections of faith, family, and identity, providing a mirror for millions of viewers who had never seen a Black trans woman portrayed with such depth and agency on primetime TV. Amiyah's impact is characterized by a polished defiance, a refusal to be confined to the tragic or hypersexualized tropes that historically limited trans performers. Born in Manhattan and raised in New Orleans, she carries a sophisticated grit that informs both her acting and her advocacy. She recognizes that for trans women of color, beauty is often used as a tool for survival, but she has reclaimed it as a tool for empowerment. By gracing the red carpets of major award shows and appearing in prestige fashion editorials, she has redefined the American sweetheart archetype to include trans identity. Her artistry is not just about performance, it is about the politics of presence, proving that her existence in spaces of high visibility is a radical act of reclamation. Beyond the cameras, Amiyah Scott is a steadfast advocate for the economic and physical safety of the transgender community. She utilizes her platform to speak out against the epidemic of violence targeting Black trans women, demanding legislative accountability and systemic protection. Her advocacy is rooted in the belief that representation without protection is a trap, pushing for a world where trans people are not just seen on screen, but are safe in their own neighborhoods. As a motivational speaker and mentor, she encourages LGBTQ+ youth to own their narratives before others can write them. Amiyah Scott remains the vanguard of the new media era, a self-made icon who proved that through the power of digital community and undeniable talent, one can transcend the margins and become the lead in their own extraordinary story. While these 15 icons have shattered glass ceilings and rewritten the global narrative of identity, their journey reveals a stark paradox in our modern era. We celebrate their faces on magazine covers and award stages, yet the systemic violence and legislative erasure facing the broader Black trans community remain at an all-time high. Is our society truly progressing toward equity? Or are we simply settling for glamorized visibility as a substitute for real justice? At Black Excellence Legends, we believe representation is only the first step. Does Hollywood's spotlight offer genuine liberation, or is it merely a distraction from the unfinished revolution?